lot. I know it hurts. Rolling by the cool kids on the first day of school. I know it hurts so bad.
Hello.
Let it go.
Let's see here. It is January 11th, 2025. Saturday. Oh, hello, Patrick. Hey, coolo. Let's see what we got here. If we're up and running. Free stream looking good. X, how you doing? Let it go. Okay, looks like we're up. I think on X. Okay, let's check out Twitch. Yes, sir. We are cruising on Twitch. And we are up on YouTube and Kick. Excellent. What do we got? 5:52. We will begin in 8 minutes. Let's check out our schedule. So today is Saturday. Let's see here. Whoop. Saturday, Science Truth. Tomorrow is Religious. And on Monday, Man's Truth. Tuesday, Take Over the World. I think we're going to go with things like, well, this Tuesday we're going to do the episode about how Russian grandchildren are going up in poof flames. Well, yeah, maybe I should talk about what we're having each day. Hey, I know. I got that power. Today is the 11th, right? Yeah, we're going to talk about marketing and how that manufactures what we think is true. Then tomorrow, we're going to do the existential crisis iceberg. And for Men's Truth, we're going to do how to hold yourself accountable and finding the right woman to extend his lineage. Then Tuesday, Russia's population problem. Talk about that. Then we're going to do the happy wife on Wednesday, our Women's Truth Day. And it's duty sex redefined for a sexual marriage. Then relationship truths, the 3 requirements of a good relation by the School of Life. And on Friday, we'll recap it all. That's what's coming up this week. Oh, next Saturday, we're going to do the 4 quadrants, a map of knowledge. And Sunday, this is a weird one, but you'll see the Nazi spice chief who brought down Hitler. Religious Truth. Yeah. That's what we're going to be doing over the next week. Yeah. We'll be starting in 5 minutes. And tonight we are looking at, from today, I found out, we are looking at the ad campaign that gave us breakfast as we know it. Yes, sir. Because you may think that what you think is your own thinking, but probably not. And we're going to pull that mask back from the Matrix and take a look underneath. We're going to start in 4 minutes. Going in 3 minutes. Oh, you shouldn't see the. Not yet. Oh, I forgot to turn on the light. Wait a sec. All right, I think I got, check it out, 5:57, 3 minutes. There we go. Woo. Yeah, so tonight we're gonna look at how truth gets manufactured. 2 minutes. Oops, wrong thing. Oop. 5:59. 1 minute to go. Ba, 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 ba. Bum, bum, bum. Okay. We're kicking away. Hello. It's 6 o'clock. And that means kind of think I gave myself some razor burn. Yeah, so here we are. That was really strange. Not sure how long I was green. Really annoying. There's more than one video. Very, very, very annoying. Whatever that was. Okay, so we got that under control. All right. So today, let's look at the show off here. Go to live. Let's do the old zoomy in. The ad campaign. They gave us breakfast as we know it. I don't know if we're going to do the baby carrots part because it's pretty long. So we'll just do the first part. And it's from Today I Found Out. Really good content producer. Simon. That's his name. Here's the link to the video. Let's check it out and talk about it. Got any questions? Just go right ahead and, let them fly. We'll stop the video and talk about it. All right, here we go.
Bacon, eggs, toast, and a tall glass of orange juice. It's a breakfast as traditionally American as apple pie, and it's not hard to see why. After all, bacon and eggs are chock full of protein, while orange juice provides a healthy dose of vitamin C. Packing the calories and nutrients needed to fuel our busy lives, this combination has been a fixture of the American breakfast table for hundreds of years. Only it totally hasn't. While a few of us can imagine eating anything else in the morning, this staple breakfast as we know it is actually less than a century old, and far from being traditional, the combination of bacon, eggs, and orange juice is a deliberate product of a highly influential marketing campaign concocted by two of the greatest advertising minds of the 20th century. You may have never heard of Edward Bernays, but you've definitely seen his work. Born on November the 22nd, 1891 in Vienna, Bernays was the nephew of the father of psychoanalysis, Sigmund Freud. From an early age, Bernays was fascinated by his uncle Siggy's theories, especially as they pertained to people's unconscious thoughts and desires. Indeed, Bernays was the first person to publish Freud's work in the United States and often used his connection to his famous uncle to advance his own career. In the early 1910s, Bernays worked as a theatre press agent, introducing the American public to the avant-garde ballet russes and helping to make opera singer Enrico Caruso a beloved star. During the First World War, he was recruited by the Committee on Public Information, a government organization devoted to shaping public opinion via propaganda printed in newspapers, pamphlets, posters, and other media. This work was a revelation for Bernays, who later recalled, "There was one basic lesson I learned in the CPI, that efforts comparable to those applied by the CPI to affect the attitudes of the enemy, of neutrals, and people of this country could be applied with equal facility to peacetime pursuits. In other words, what could be done for a nation at war could be done for organizations and people in a nation at peace." After the war, Bernays formed his own marketing agency, combining his wartime CPI experience with his Uncle Freud's theories to pioneer a new field that he dubbed public relations. One early campaign illustrates just how insightful and diabolical his approach could be. In 1928, George Washington Hill, CEO of the American Tobacco Company, came to Bernays with a problem: getting women to smoke. At the time, it was almost unheard of for women to light up, the act of smoking being strongly associated with masculine virility. This deeply entrenched cultural taboo was cutting American tobacco off from a large and potentially lucrative market. Bernays' unorthodox campaign proceeded in three phases. American Tobacco's research had revealed that women were put off by the green packaging of the company's Lucky Strike brand cigarettes, green being seen as a bit of an unfashionable color. After determining that the packaging was too expensive to change, Bernays decided instead to bring green back into vogue, organizing, among other events, a green gala at the Waldorf Astoria Hotel for some of society's most prominent trendsetters. Next, working off Lucky Strike.
So, instead of changing the green pack, which was more expensive, they decided, hey, let's make green popular. Let's have some galas, and yeah, people will think green's cool. Yeah, okay. See how that works? Continue.
Mike's new slogan, "Reach for a lucky, not a sweet," he publicized a scientific study on the negative effects of sugar and distributed photos of slim models smoking cigarettes, firmly linking the habit with keeping the trim flapper physique popular at the time. While
so I knew sugar was bad for you. So interesting how they connected those two ideas of smoking was better than eating sweets. Interesting, eh? How they brought those two ideas together.
the campaign worked, it only succeeded in getting women to smoke at home. In order to break the taboo against women smoking in public, Bernays went after another subconscious female desire. In newspapers around the country, he announced at the upcoming 1929 Easter parade along Fifth Avenue, a group of 30 debutantes would light torches of freedom in support of women's liberation. When the day finally arrived, startled reporters looked on as the women confidently pulled out cigarettes and lit up. Almost overnight, smoking became associated with the modern liberated woman, and sales of Lucky Strikes and other cigarette brands absolutely soared. The principle
So, oops, where'd it go? There we go. So, torches of freedom were lit. Yeah. All right. So you see how that smoking got tied into the women's liberation movement so that tobacco companies could sell them cigarettes. Great. See how that matrix works?
of consumption as personal statements or political performance remains standard of the marketing toolkit to this very day. But Bernays' most influential and long-lived campaign ran a few years earlier. In 1922, he was approached by the Beechnut Packing Company, which over the past few decades, Beechnut had seen a steady decline in its sales of bacon and eggs. This was largely the result of sweeping changes in the American labor market. For hundreds of years, most Americans worked on farms, and to fuel this hard labor, they ate hearty breakfasts, including bacon and eggs. With the coming of industrialization, however, many Americans moved to the city and took up less physically demanding work. At the same time, evangelists like John Harvey Kellogg began advocating a bland diet of cereals to ward off sinful impulses, while growing concerns over indigestion and keeping slim pushed people away from rich and fatty foods. By the 1920s, the typical American breakfast consisted of little more than a roll or piece of toast, oatmeal, a piece of fruit or glass of orange juice, and a cup of coffee. In order to reverse this trend, Bernays first contacted his agency's resident physician and asked him whether a light breakfast or a heavy breakfast would be better for overall health. As he later recalled, he agreed that a heavy breakfast was sounder from the standpoint of health than a light breakfast because the body loses energy during the night and it needs it during the day. We asked the
So, so the idea that a physician said, yeah, a hearty breakfast, much better in the morning because you lose calories at night, you need to replenish them in the day, in the morning. So remember that idea.
physician, would he be willing, at no cost, to write to 5,000 physicians and ask them whether their judgment was the same as his? He said he would be glad to do it. We sent out a letter to over 5,000 physicians. Obviously, all of them concurred that having a heavier breakfast was better for the health of the American people than a light breakfast. In August and September of that year, newspapers around the country trumpeted the verdict of some 4,500 physicians, the Chicago Tribune recommending brain workers and persons in sedentary occupations should eat a substantial breakfast of fruit, cereals, bacon, eggs, toast, or, as we of the South prefer, hot biscuits.
So you see how that message got a little telephone gamed, right? Yeah.
American people than a light
That's,
breakfast.
quite
In
a
August and September of
difference
that year,
there.
newspapers around the country trumpeted the verdict of some 4,500 physicians, the Chicago Tribune recommending brain workers and persons in sedentary occupations should eat a substantial breakfast of fruit, cereals, bacon, eggs, toast, or, as we of the South prefer, hot biscuits. While the Los Angeles Times breathlessly announced under the headline, "Enter the Big Breakfast," We were in dire peril of falling for the finicky French roll and chocolate, the Virginial English tea and marmalade, the slice of fruit and swallow of vermouth of the Mediterranean. Not so breakfasted the men who hewed a new civilization from the rocks of the western continent. Ham, eggs, bacon, cornmeal, buckwheat cakes, maple syrup, codfish balls, coffee in great mugs, hot biscuits, butter without stint or limit, hash, fried potatoes, apple pie, farm-made cream cheese, bowls of warm frothy milk. On the strength of such breakfasts as these, the young republic grew to world overlordship. Okay.
Wow. All that from asking a doctor if it's better to have a hearty breakfast in the morning.
Okie. The campaign was an instant success, Beechnut seeing sales of bacon and eggs climb back to pre-1900 levels. So successful, in fact, was Bernays at cementing in the American mind the association between bacon, eggs, and breakfast that to this day, 70% of bacon consumed in the United States is eaten at breakfast. Over his long career, Edward Bernays would mastermind countless such campaigns, using his mastery of human psychology to mold public opinion and carve out new markets for his clients. For example, in 1924, he threw an elaborate pancake breakfast at the White House in support of Calvin Coolidge's re-election campaign, creating a beloved political tradition that persists to this day. In the late 1940s, General Mills introduced its Betty Crocker brand instant cake mix, but sales were disappointing. Turning once again to psychoanalysis, Bernays deduced why. Housewives, he reasoned, were put off by instant mix because they themselves contributed very little to the baking process, making them feel lazy and like they were failing their husbands. To correct this, Bernays added a single instruction to the box: add an egg. This tiny contribution did the trick, and sales of Betty Crocker immediately picked up. In the
Add an egg. All right. Oh, no manipulation.
1950s, Bernays partnered with the American Dental Association to help the American Aluminum Company sell water fluoridation to the American people, while his campaign for Dixie Cup convinced people that regular drinking glasses were unsanitary, driving up sales. Is a genius. Bernays' approach to marketing is perhaps best summed up by his biographer, Larry Tye. Hired to sell a product or service, he instead sold whole new ways of behaving, which appeared obscure but over time reaped huge rewards for his clients and redefined the very texture of American life. While his work has been widely criticized as underhanded, manipulative, and dangerous, it was reported that Nazi propaganda minister Joseph Goebbels had a copy of his book Crystallizing Public Opinion on his bookshelf. Bernays himself took a different view. We worked out the engineering of consent, which applies to any social goal, but the people who don't have social goals, unfortunately, can also employ it. Indeed, in his later years, Bernays would do extensive pro bono work for non-profit organizations such as the NAACP, American Cancer Society, including, ironically, on an anti-smoking campaign. Following a career spanning 7 decades, Edward Bernays died on March 9th, 1995, at the age of 104. But the story of the American breakfast doesn't quite end there. Remember how we said that the standard breakfast for the 1920s included a glass of orange juice? Well, just like bacon and eggs, there was nothing traditional about this breakfast staple either. In fact, up until the early 1910s, drinking orange juice was almost unheard of in America. This now ubiquitous daily habit had to be invented by the other American godfather of marketing, Alan Lasker. In 1908, the Southern California Fruit Growers Association partnered with Lasker's firm Lord & Thomas to find a way to sell more oranges to the American public. While orange production in California was booming, demand had plateaued, leading to an orange surplus that threatened to tank prices and destroy the industry. Lasker's first step was to rebrand the association, giving them the now familiar name of Sunkist. Increasing orange sales proved a trickier task, but in 1916, Lasker hit upon a solution. While the average American ate only half an orange at breakfast, a glass of orange juice took up 3 to 4 oranges to make. If Americans could be convinced to make their own orange juice, orange consumption would significantly increase. To this end, Lasker designed a simple home juice press and heavily promoted it in magazines like the Saturday Evening Post under the catchy slogan, "Drink an orange." These ads touted the health benefits of orange juice and even included a promotion whereby customers could collect and redeem orange wrappers and receive a free juicer. The campaign coincided perfectly with a health scare over vitamin deficiency and a condition called acidosis. Panic Sunkist was quick to exploit. A 1929 ad read, "Estelle seemed to lack vitality, didn't even make an effort to be entertaining, hence she did not attract the men. Acidosis is the word on almost every modern physician's tongue." In 1934, 1994, scientists discovered that acidosis was actually a rare disease unaffected by drinking orange juice, but by then the damage was done. Almost overnight, orange consumption shot up nearly 400%, almost single-handedly saving the US orange industry and securing orange juice's coveted spot at the American breakfast table. The campaign also cemented in the minds of the American public the notion that orange juice is a uniquely healthy drink, despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary. In fact, the average glass of orange juice contains a whopping 27 grams of sugar, about as much as a can of Coca-Cola. When an orange is eaten, the pulp, being difficult to digest, causes this sugar to be absorbed much slower throughout the day. The sugar in orange juice, by contrast, is absorbed more or less all at once, meaning that overconsumption of orange and other commercial fruit juices carries the same obesity and diabetes risk as drinking sugary sodas. And while ads for orange juice promote it as natural and fresh, the modern product found on store shelves is actually anything but. Raw orange juice is often stored for up to a year before reaching the consumer, and the pasteurization process used to render it safe also strips it of most of its natural flavors and aromas. Orange juice producers must thus use flavor packs, specifically formulated blends of processed orange oils and other aromatic compounds, to reintroduce these flavors to the juice before packaging and selling it. The upshot of all of this is just how intentionally planned many of our most common habits really are. No matter how traditional it might appear, if you regularly consume some specific food, drink, or other product, there's a good chance that that's because some marketing executive somewhere absolutely wanted you to. And as a corollary, as we've covered in great detail on the origins of most major holidays, pretty much every holiday that enjoys massive popularity usually has that popularity thanks to one or more advertising campaigns that propelled it into the big leagues of holidays and other campaigns that keep it there. Holidays that aren't easily commercialized rarely see the same heights of popularity as those that are. So next time you're lamenting over the over-commercialization of some of the most beloved holidays, remember that the holiday probably wouldn't even be there if it hadn't been massively commercialized.
Ooh, interesting. So you can see just how easily what you think had no outside influences actually have a lot. And that's pretty much the most of the world around us is something can't know everything. I don't know, should we do this baby carrot thing? Oh, I see. This is actually a whole bunch of videos. Interesting. Well, I think I'm gonna boop, 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 boop. Call it there. And that will...
Unlike cut baby carrots,
Oops. That'll be late show. Wow, that's kind of short. Only 6:20. Well, I don't have anything else. Guess that'll be it. All right. Well, join the Discord. And tomorrow we will be looking at a religious truth, which is going to, as soon as I find the right date, going to be the existential crisis iceberg, put on by Alex O'Connor. That'll be pretty cool. And with that, we'll just down. Too loud. We'll just say goodnight, and we'll be back tomorrow morning, somewhere around 5:30, 6 a.m. Some exercise. and some motivation. And then we'll be back tomorrow night. And we'll do our religious truth. Cool. I'll see you tomorrow.